Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Grow the Home Garden. It is a beautiful spring day here in Tennessee, and I am walking over to my hydrangea plants because I want to talk to you real briefly about how to prune your hydrangea plants and when to prune your hydrangea plants. Not all hydrangeas need to be pruned at the same time, and depending upon what time of year it is and what time of year the flowers actually bloom will tell you when you need to prune your hydrangea. So I've got three different types of hydrangeas in my garden. I've got a Macrophylla, I've got a arborescens, and I've got an oak leaf hydrangea, which is Hydrangea quercifolia. All three of those can be pruned at different times of the year. So let's go through which one does which, when, and that way you can be informed when you go to prune your hydrangeas. All right, right now you can tell that the spring leaves are just now starting to come out right here. And this is a Hydrangea Macrophylla. This specific one will bloom in the summertime. So on these, you do not want to touch them in spring or you will risk cutting off blooms. Now, if you're okay with just cutting off the blooms and trying to correct the shape, if you've got a problem, it's okay to go ahead and prune it then. You're just going to lose some flowers. It's not going to hurt the plant, but you're not going to get those blooms from it. Hydrangea Macrophylla likes to be pruned after the blooming. So the best time to do that is in the summertime, right after it's finished blooming. You give it a nice little haircut and then you're good to go. Now the same is true also with oak leaf hydrangeas. Here's our oak leaf hydrangea that we've got here. We've had this one for many, many years. And occasionally it does need some pruning. In fact, I've got to actually cut off this one particular low branch right there. It got damaged a few years ago when we had roofing being replaced on our roof, and shingles came down on top of that spot there and damaged that branch. So I just need to cut that completely off. But the rest of it will be pruned after it's done blooming, not before, because I want to get all those blooms out of it. And the oak leaf hydrangea blooms in the summertime. So again, I'm not going to prune it now. It's going to wait for its haircut sometime this summer. This hydrangea, right now it just looks like a pile of sticks coming out of the ground, is a Hydrangea arborescens, or the smooth hydrangea. It actually can be pruned now. In fact, it prefers to be pruned sometime in the fall, winter, or early spring. It flowers on the new wood. And that's kind of the thing with hydrangeas. It either flowers on the new wood or the old wood, and knowing which one is which will tell you when you need to actually prune. So if it flowers on the new wood, you would do it in the spring or up to the spring. It can be done in the fall and the winter as well. If you were to have a hydrangea that flowered on the old wood, like a Macrophylla or the oak leaf hydrangea, you would need to prune it after flowering, or probably late summer at the latest. You want to make sure it has time to put on some new buds for the blooms that are going to be coming the next year. Now for pruning a hydrangea, you'll notice here that we've got nodes right there and there. Those are going to be where your new growth begins, where it's going to send out new shoots and buds and blooms. So depending upon how far down you want to do it, you cut just above one of those nodes. The other thing to note about this is that the direction that these nodes point to is where your growth is going to go. So if you want your growth to be going this direction, that's a good one to have there. If you'd rather have your growth going this way, then I would cut just above this branch right there. Snip, just like that. Now what's really cool, and because I like propagating plants, I think it's really cool, is this piece here could then be stuck into some soil and could possibly take root. I've got basically 2 cuttings I can probably get out of this one realistically. Now for this, I'm just wanting to prune it about halfway so it will regrow from that point and keep on producing buds and blooms. Now if at any point you realize that the branches are dead, I recommend cutting back to the live growth, whatever that might be, and sometimes you can't get all the way down to it. But I think right there is about where that's going to go. But I'm going to snip a little bit here just above these buds. Just always pay attention to which way the buds face, and that way you can kind of control how your plant is shaped. And when cutting, it's good to keep an angle cut on it. That allows any moisture to just kind of roll off the side. You can see there, that didn't cut very cleanly. I'm going to cut down a little bit further, like that. A lot of this wood is very crisp and brittle right now, but that's okay. It will do just fine. Note here, this is not part of the hydrangea. That is a box elder that has self-sown. So I'm just going to snip it down and hopefully get rid of it eventually. So, and it doesn't look like much right now, but later on this summer, it will look like a beautiful hydrangea plant with lots of buds and lots of blooms, which is what we want. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Hope this was helpful to you or interesting. If so, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Growing the Home Garden.